All right, Grasshoppers. That's right. It's Monday, and we are thrilled once again to have this stud muffin back, the Mark Puttenvink. Just so everybody knows, he has a company called PatriotTrainingSystems.com. Thank you. I got it right this time. It took me 2 months to finally get it right. And Mark had been in the past and trained several people, trains a lot of Navy SEALs and police officers and everybody, but also worked with the New York Rangers for a few years, up with the New England Patriots. You're still going up to West Point and doing stuff there. You teaching boxing?
We're shut down for COVID.
Oh.
Yeah, hopefully by September we'll get the boxing going again. But right now we're shut down because of COVID.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of the sporting events over the weekend getting more people in the buildings. Yeah.
I mean, the golf yesterday and the hockey. It's just good to see people out having a good time and enjoying life.
Definitely. And I didn't see the whole thing with Phil, but the crowd go nuts or something.
They were crazy. I don't understand how the security. I mean, they were literally on his shoulder going out to the 18th, and they were like wild. And it was a big group of people.
I heard this. I heard the radio show, Boomer Esiason. I was listening to his radio show this morning. They were playing some of the clips just on the radio, and the sound was pretty incredible. And you were mentioning something that's pretty cool. You and I are big believers, and you made me a big believer in fasting and all the health benefits. And you were saying that Phil Mickelson, he's got bad arthritis, and he believes fasting's really helped him there.
Yeah, so fasting is part of his management of his arthritis. He does some other things. I think some acupuncture and some other things. A diet, especially, is a particular diet for him. That's an anti-inflammatory diet, and he also fasts. So that's part of his protocol.
Does he? I wonder if he uses turmeric.
He may. I would imagine he would, because
that's I've really gotten into the ginger and turmeric, and I was reading up where allergy season, obviously, and I didn't understand this. You probably did, that your nasal passages get all swollen up and everything with allergies, and that turmeric works wonders. So I do the shot of ginger and turmeric, and I haven't had an allergy problem, and I've been sitting in the dust and everything, and just it's incredible. Like I know we talked about this before the show, but the more and more research you do, more and more learning I do, and more stuff you teach me too, I realize all the benefits of the healthy food and the fasting and everything. It's just like they're not needing other medications if you're eating the right food. So
I mean, it's heal thyself, and food is the biggest part of that process.
Yeah. They tell you, I'm doing a show with these guys tomorrow. They tell you about the old friend of mine that's starting the company. They've gone to insurance companies, and they've convinced insurance companies to provide healthy meals to particularly people with diabetes. Because if the type 2 diabetes, typically overweight. So the insurance companies, I guess, are spending like $250,000 a year on medications for people with diabetes.
Right.
And with this food, they'll send them meals, and it won't be the whole thing, but it helps them get on a healthy lifestyle to lose weight and then hopefully get away from diabetes. It only costs me $5,000 a year. So it's a cost benefit to the insurance company.
Yeah, huge.
And again, and he's doing the studying up on it. And apparently when they're giving all the medications to people to help them fight diabetes, that also increases the weight. They gain weight being on this medication too, which makes the whole diabetes even worse, right? So it's so this way, so this way to get them on the healthy foods, lose some weight.
Great. I like that. That's a great concept.
Yeah, it's really pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at fasting, you just start going through the internet, you'll see some people had some significant critical illness that cured it just simply by fasting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm going to do a show with these guys tomorrow too. I think at noon. We'll do a show with them.
Yeah, make sure I watch it.
Texas guy. One guy's a Texas real estate guy, and he's that loud Texas guy. He comes to New York, and he gets in New York, and he rips it up. Yeah, definitely. All right, we're going to touch on. I thought this was a really interesting topic when you first sent it to me. We're going to do multitasking. We're going to talk about today. I was just like, what's he talking about? And then, I knew what multitasking was, but then I went online, did some research, and some of the interesting studies they've done on that too. So multitasking, then our definition of multitasking is pretty simple, right? Being able to do multiple tasks at the same time, multiple chores. Okay.
And so I think we want to look at it almost in a different realm. Same concept in a different realm if we're talking about sport and performance, and also just maybe life in general. Instead of thinking about multitasking, we want to think about stacking tasks. So you have task A, task B, task C. You're not going to do them all at the same time. You're going to stack one on top of the other. How would that be related to ice hockey? You're skating, you're stick handling, you're passing the puck. Those are 3 separate tasks. Even though it may appear that you're doing them all at the same time, you're really stacking them one on top of the other. You're layering them.
Right.
What this comes from is in the military, they have an acronym MRFT. It stands for Mission Related Functional Training. meaning you want to get the best performance and the best efficiency. So their concept is that you don't really, you don't run, shoot, and communicate at the same time. Let's say in combat, you're running, you're shooting, and you're communicating. Again, those are tasks that you're stacking. And you need to be proficient in each one so that you're doing it subconsciously. So how that relates to ice hockey would be, obviously, if you have a high level of skating, you're not thinking about the skating. If you have a high skill set of stick handling, you're not thinking about it. If you can pass the puck tape to tape, you're not. How do we reach that? We reach that through, obviously, evolution after evolution after evolution, which greases the groove, which sets up those neural. So performance isn't really about muscle. You need strength, but it's more about the nervous system and having those skill sets. We grease the groove by doing repetition after repetition after repetition, to where you have what we call a unconscious competence. You're not thinking about it, but you're performing. So when Darren Van Imp, who when I was there, New York got them, got him from I forget where. I think that doesn't matter, but he had played for Robbie Ftorek in Boston. And when he was picked up by Boston in the offseason, Robbie called him and said, "Hey, Darren, if you're carrying the puck on your backhand, you're going to switch to your forehand to make a pass out." He said, "Probably." He said, "Okay, I want you to go to the rink every day this summer, 200 pucks, backhand after backhand after backhand, so you can get to the point you do a 30-foot pass, tape to tape, backhand." And that's greasing the groove. So that's a task that can be part of a stack, right?
Gotcha. So let's take that to the workplace then. So I did some study and reading and talking about multitasking, and that the tests that they've done, or the tests they've done, more show that that multitasking is bad for you, trying to do a whole bunch of things at once. But you're saying, no, okay, the skating part of it, if you're a really good skater, although you're skating, you're stick handling, you're looking to pass the puck, the skating really isn't a task that you're thinking about because you're just so proficient at it.
Right.
So that's different then, right? So if you're, would that relate to workplace then? Is it possible to be proficient enough?
So I think, yes. I mean, when I was younger, I was dumb enough to do some roofing for a couple summers, which is really pretty tough manual labor. But there's a little bit of there's a technique to roofing, right? And when I first started, because you get paid by the bundle, that's how you get paid. So so you want to be able to put down as many bundles as you can in a day.
Right.
When I first started, even though it was a pretty routine task, I didn't grease the groove enough to where I didn't get to the point where I'm thinking about something completely different and I'm nailing away and putting shingles down. So it's a pretty simple task, but it did take some evolutions of that myelination we talked about between the neuron and the muscle cell.
That is true. Like I'm thinking when I'm playing hockey, I don't even think about my skating, right? Because I've done it all my life. So I don't even think about the skating. I'm more, and in fact, I probably don't even think about the stick handling. I'm more looking, because my role was to get the puck up to somebody else.
Right.
It was more the thought process to me, okay, where's the open man? Who should I move it to? It's really, that's interesting you say that too. So you can relate that. So if you're at the workplace, let's say some of the tasks you have at the workplace, you're talking to a coworker, you're writing something down. It'd be different though, right? I mean, because there's so many different tasks.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, it's different, but maybe it can be similar in the sense that, I mean, if you look at a receptionist, she has to answer the phone, she has to type, she has to open mail. And sometimes the phone's ringing while she's typing and she's opening up mail. Maybe over a period of time, she could stack those tasks through evolution after evolution. So being able to not look at the typewriter and being able to listen to the computer and type and talk on the phone at the same time.
You know what's funny? You got me thinking now about some jobs you had. Like, so you did the roofing job. So growing up on the farm, we had some other farmer was growing peas. So the pea pods, and you had to pick them by hand. And you've got the little bushel basket. I don't know, it's a bushel basket, a little basket. Anyway, you had to fill them up with. And you get paid by the basket that you get done. But you got to pick the right peas. You can't pick them when they're too ripe. Well, I worked there for a couple of days. I think I made like 25 cents. Like it was, it was funny with that kind of job. And I said, why am I doing this? It's just like I was getting up early in the morning out in the hot sun all day. I was willing to have a job, but I wanted to get paid for it. And I just couldn't master. I couldn't quite figure out things. I'm watching these women pick the peas and everything and then I'd pick the peas. I'd fill up my basket and the guy would come by. Well, that's no good. That's no good. And that was funny. I'll never forget that job.
If you really look at a life of a youth player who becomes a travel player, who maybe becomes a college player, maybe becomes a professional, at the youth level, we're teaching skating, stick handling, shooting, and passing. Yeah. Now, when you get to the NHL, I don't have to. The coaching staff doesn't talk about that. We're talking about system or what. And the problem with this, Tom, is that I have seen youth practices where the coach is spending the whole hour on systems.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And receive a pass on the backhand.
Yeah, I know.
Systems is when you've greased the groove enough that you're not thinking about anything, your performance. And again, it gets back to the best performance and the best efficiency. So there's this concept. It's called virtuosity, and I really like this concept. The virtuosity means perfection doesn't exist. What you want to attain a level of is virtuosity, where you can perform very common tasks exceptionally well, subconsciously.
Right.
And that really is the key to perfection in the basics.
Right.
And even in my other realm of life with boxing, there are times I'll take a professional boxer and we'll just work on the jab. The guy may have 30 professional fights, but we'll go back to foundation just to reinforce that groove.
It's a big part of that comes from that too, is that confidence, right? Like I had Kenny Bigby Jr., one of your friends too, on the show. We talk about confidence a lot, and that you want to have enough confidence. So you have to put in the work, that you've got confidence that you can do the job, but you can't be overconfident, because then you think to yourself, well, I know everything now. I don't need to learn anymore. Right. So like you're saying, you never really do reach perfection because you're always trying to get better all the time. I know I've told the story over and over. One of the most influential coaches for me when I was a kid, and there's a few of them, but Rick Hay, when I played junior B. Yeah. And we would have practice every Wednesday night. And I was a young local guy, playing junior B, you're playing with guys that are 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. And I'm like 15, 16. And every Wednesday night we would do breakouts. And I sort of, it felt like, now I know it's not accurate, but it felt like he was yelling at me the whole time we were doing breakouts, because I was that big lazy guy. I'd kind of take my time getting back in, how breakouts. So it's really important doing breakouts when you learn to do it properly. If you watch an NHL defenseman, the way he should do it, he skates really hard back to the puck. So he gets there as quickly as possible. He's got his head on a swivel. He's looking around for the outlet pass. For me at that age, I'll just lollygag, it's practice, so I'll take my time. And he would scream at me to get back there fast and find that guy in the hash mark, get it to him right off the bat, right on his tape. Well, it got like, seriously, I felt like I was going to get sick to my stomach every time we did practice. I was going to get yelled at all the time. But that ended up being one of the staples of my game. And it was just an automatic. Like I had total confidence in myself once I turned from college, even, and once I got into the pros, that was a play for me. And Herb Brooks even told me one time, he says, Laidlaw, when you get the puck, give it to somebody else. You're not supposed to have it. And he kind of was saying that in kind of a smart aleck way, making fun of me in front of my teammates, but it was true. And but I knew how to do it because I greased the groove, as you said. I've done it so many times. So
did I say the violin and drummer story?
No.
So Kenny was playing for, I love this guy, Tommy McVie.
Oh, Kenny Danicle?
Yeah, I think in Utica or wherever the farm, Maine, possibly back then. Kenny was a kid. And I guess in practice, he was, trying to fake out the same guy 2 times, right? So McVie pulls him over to the bench, says, with that voice, I don't know if you know, Tommy, had that really gruff voice.
Yeah.
Danicle, you're not a violinist, you're a drummer. Play the drums. Yeah.
I remember that. You did tell that story too. That's right. Yeah.
Just make the play. So interesting. Yesterday, I did a law enforcement seminar with a good friend of mine. And so what our focus yesterday was really running up against somebody who won't get in a car or won't get to the ground and won't get cuffed. So it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's some of my Filipino martial arts, and it's tactical. At the end of the day, what we did, we had them put their plates on, which weigh about 30 pounds, 40 pounds, run a huge lap. Then they had to do a dead man carry with a guy. We picked the biggest guys we could find for about 30 or 40 yards. Then they had to enter the building, and we had 3 different bad guys who were all black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So they're not going to get to the ground real easy. And they're play acting, resisting, I should say. And there's such a correlation between performance with their performance and also about being on the ice. And we always talk about communication. Goalie's got to be talking to everybody because sometimes you don't see, and the D's got to talk. Everybody's got to communicate, right? Well, it's the same thing. So we're sending in 3 police officers to take down one resisting person. And many times they didn't have a pre-planned mission of who's going to communicate what. So what I mean by that is if you're taking down someone, if there's 3 cops and they're all talking, the guy doesn't know who to listen to.
Right.
So you already know going in. Secondly, before we go in, I'm going to say, Tom, I got high, you got low. So I'm going to go to the upper body, you're going to go to his lower body. They didn't do any of that. So we had to teach them that that's part of the whole communication. Before you enter, get out of the car or whatever it is, you have to have lines of communication established and a plan. You know? Yeah.
It's funny. I was on Survivor. So I'm the oldest guy in the show. I turned 61 when I was out there, and the other kids are all like in their 20s and some up into the 40s and that. And so they knew I'd played hockey, a bit of captain and everything. So when you go do a challenge, so that's a competition between the other tribe. They show you what the challenge is, and then you've got a minute to kind of strategize how you're going to do everything. So when we're all nice and calm and quiet, they say, "Okay, Tom, you're going to lead this, right? Because you're experienced, so we'll all listen to you. You know, you'll tell everybody what to do." So inevitably, it got to be a pattern. So I just laughed about it after a while. But the first time it happened, so they would all strategize. Said, "Okay, Tom's going to talk. Nobody else is going to talk." Well, as soon as we had this, they said, "Okay, the minute's starting now." Everybody's talking, right? They're just and they're just so excited. But it really, to your point, it really hurt us in the competitions too, because we didn't get time to strategize. And okay, this is your job. This is your job. Right. And I could see where in those dangerous situations with police officers and military, how important it is to have that communication and everybody, because you do, right? I mean, you're especially in a situation like that where it's life or death. I mean, the adrenaline gets going, your blood pressure is going, your heart's beating faster, and that's when you kind of lose your senses a little bit, right? So it's really important to really make sure.
That's a huge part of it. So what we were doing yesterday is stress inoculation training. So you run these drills and you run them, because keep in mind, you know, in law enforcement, you may go a period of time, maybe years, maybe 2 decades before you really get. If you're unfortunate to get in a situation that presents itself that way, and you're going to get that adrenaline dump, you're going to get, auditory exclusion. You're going to lose the blood rushes from your arms and your hands to the middle of your body to protect your internal organs. So what happens is you lose fine motor control with your hands. So you have to really go grease that groove that you're performing. You don't even realize you're doing it. Again, it's virtuosity, perfection in the basics. And it's performing at a subconscious level. You don't even know you're doing it. Right. My boxing world, like I've been boxing from when I'm a little kid, somebody throws a jab, I know how to slip. Right? But I didn't know it the first day I went in the gym. That jab was cracking me all the time. But I don't think about it now.
Yeah. That is the key for young people or people starting a new job or something, to realizing that, okay, just because I can't do it now doesn't mean I won't be able to do it later on, right? I'm going to train for that. We did a great event with the Rangers Thursday. We're up in Norwalk, Connecticut. And in Norwalk, just the kids don't get much of a chance to play hockey. It's a little bit of a blue collar town. People can't afford to play hockey and everything. So the Rangers go in and they set up these ball hockey in the parking lot of the schools and everything. Yeah. And that's, they give me, I went up there and I talked to the kids, and, it's interesting. I find myself more and more now because I've learned more. So when I go to talk to younger people like that, you realize, okay, this is what they're thinking right now, right? They're afraid to try something. They see I'm an NHL player, so they're a little bit nervous trying something. And it's important to get them out there. And I say to them, listen, you will fail. You will make mistakes especially when you get started in this stuff, but just expect that and know that, okay, just because I can't do it today doesn't mean I won't be able to do it in a week or a month or a year or whatever. I just keep working at it. It's the same thing for adults when they start a new job or something too, or a relationship.
Even working in your, we were talking earlier too, and I was doing some studying this morning in martial arts, and the guy's called a Sifu, and his SIFU, I don't know exactly, like a guru, like a sensei. And we were saying how, like, even in your daily life with your training and then your work and your relationships, if you dwell on the bad all the time, and you get a negative mindset, and your mind is at dis-ease, your body will follow with disease. And it's so true.
I like it. Yeah, I like that. You
I
said
really
that for sure. I like that one too.
Yeah.
Hey, before I forget, I keep forgetting to ask you this. So I chart in all my foods into an app. Do you do that?
No, I mean, I think it's a great idea. I should do it, but I kind of I write down everything, all my training every day, and all my food intake. I don't really get into great detail because I'm at a point now over a period of time. I know what works and I know what doesn't work.
Definitely, yeah. I like it because it's really charting my macros, right? It's telling me how much fat I'm getting in my body, all that kind of stuff. Well, here's what I want to ask you though, too. So I put in, it has the feature in there. So I go to my workout and then I charted all my exercises I do. So I have, it's got all list of exercises, how many reps, how many pounds. And it's, so now since we started talking about, I can't remember what term you used, about trying to get more done in less period of time in your workouts, compressing the workouts.
The AMRAP.
Right, that's right. So,
yeah.
Right. So I've been doing supersets all the time,
right.
and I've been getting in about an hour and 25 minutes. I'm getting in as much work as the app says that I should get in like in 2 hours.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But it's saying that I'm burning like 1,100, 1,200 calories.
Could be.
Do you think that's accurate?
It could be. Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
if you push yourself that hard, yeah. I mean, so a lot of when these electronic bikes came out, a lot of the guys in the locker room would have contests to try and burn 500 calories as fast as they can.
Yeah.
I think some of them get down to like 20 minutes.
Is that right? Eh? Wow.
Yeah.
And what exercises, do you think the high intensity interval training burns more calories than anything else? Or what do you think?
It does because not only for that period of time you're training, but it elevates throughout the day as well.
Right.
There's a spillover effect.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes less is more.
Right. And even I think sometimes like the heavy work, you're doing heavy day, like a heavy squat day or deadlifts and stuff, that seems to burn a lot of calories too, right? It really gets to.
Yeah. Anything that really taxes your nervous system. Right. So a heavy day with squats, the high intensity is more of a metabolic thing where the really anaerobic, extremely hard anaerobic burst where you're burning up your glycogen or the sugar in your muscles.
Right.
And then the recovery when you're breathing heavy is aerobic. So you're reproducing ATP. And it's just, if you do it correctly, whether it's HITT or it's the Tabata system, you just completely jack up your metabolic demand, and they spill over for the rest of the day.
Interesting. What's your favorite workout? You have it like, do you go on a cycle? Do you do chest one day, or you don't as much, do you? Like you're doing the other boxing.
Years ago I used to. And years ago I probably weighed close to 20 pounds more than I do now.
Right.
Which wasn't really, I'm not a big guy. I probably weighed like 174, and now I'm about 154. And ironically, when I was really boxing, when I was much younger, I was like 135, 140 pounds. It was really light. So I think this is a good way for me. Because of my injuries, shoulder injuries. I mean, you know the deal. I can't really bench press a lot like I used to. Yeah. And probably it's a good thing because I'm not a big believer in bench press. I think it's
really. Well, let me stop you there one sec. Why?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a shoulder destroyer completely.
Oh.
Yeah. I also, and again, it's if you're going to be a bodybuilder, yeah, you have to bench press. But even those guys know they do more incline than they do flat bench. The flat bench is the power lifter. That's the guy that's going to listen. I just want to bench as much as I possibly can. Squat.
So what do you do if you want to have the nice, good chest? I mean,
tons of flies. Because the flies, you can control your range of motion. You can actually feel the stress. Now, don't forget on a conventional bench press, from the chest, the bar actually starts to move with your lats. If you're doing your bench press correctly, your lats should feel it the next day.
Right.
Then your front deltoids are going to get involved. Little bit of chest, and then from like halfway up is all tricep. And I even coach guys when the bar doesn't go straight up. So if the pin, let me get my hand in the screen. If the rack is here, it's going to come on a curve. Because as you go up and you curve back, your triceps really get involved.
Yeah.
And you complete it. So
here's a good question. Diane Eck has got a great comment here. I want to see what you think here. My BMI calculator says I'm still 11 pounds overweight. Do you believe in that BMI, body mass index? So basically, it's your height and weight on a chart, right?
Yeah, and so those were designed by insurance companies.
Yeah.
Some of them may be decades old before we had more science in terms of, composition. And I always tell
It's so
people,
hard to tell. Like if some guy, I hate to say it this way, if some guy is overweight and not in shape or anything like that, and weighs the same height as another guy who's in totally great shape and is all muscle, their body mass is. There's no way it can be the same, but
right.
there's nothing factors that in, right?
So, again, Diane, the key to all of this is if you're, and I'm going to guess that you're looking to get in the best shape you can, have the best appearance you can, take a picture.
Yeah.
Store it on your phone, look at it 6 weeks from now, and you tell me if you forget the BMI, do your eating and do your fasting and whatever you're doing in your training, you'll be able to see improvements. Absolutely.
I agree with that so much. And even the scale, I know you want to get on the scale, but I'm a big believer in not getting on the scale every day. If you're going to get on the scale, make it once a week.
Unless you're going to fight and you need to make weight, you should not be getting on the scale. And the scale presents a number. It presents a number. So I could be 200 pounds at 8% body fat. I could also be 200 pounds at 28% body fat. It's not really an indicator.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I think people psychologically too. Let's say you drank a whole bunch of water and you don't lose it. Maybe you gain a pound, but you've been dieting and exercising, and then you're discouraged and everything. It's just like, how do you feel in your clothes? How do you look? And two, I think it's how healthy you are. It's like it's not just about the weight all the time. Yes, if you're overweight, you want to lose weight, but be healthy. Yeah.
So, like in the heat of the summer, when I go to the field and I do whatever my crazy stuff I'm doing, I could lose 3 pounds, maybe more.
Yeah.
And then put it back on in 2 hours with water.
Yeah, I know. There's some games, particularly at the Garden, during the playoff games, whatever, where it's hot. I bet I'd lose 7 or 8 pounds just to pure water weight.
Which is normal for a guy your size. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So are you a big golf fan? I didn't know you were a golfer.
Yeah. Oh, I love golf. Not very good at it, but
I'm awful at it.
Last year, the best 2 balls I hit last year is when I stepped up on a rake in a sand trap. No, I love it. My son Sean and I
was wondering where you're going with that one. That was pretty good.
Yeah, my son Sean and I play quite often. We love it. We're not very good, but it's it's a game that if you don't start off young, it's a very
I am awful. I have zero patience whatsoever. If I hit a bad shot, the next time up I want to hit it harder the next time. And then of course
it's a very, very humbling game. And then it was funny because do you remember Joe Morris? He was running back for the New York Giants, little Joe.
Oh yeah.
Played Syracuse. We were playing one day. And I said, I can't wait to get older. The old guys, they just hit it 150 yards a clip. That's all. Nice, easy swing. He looks at me and goes, but that 150-yard putt's pretty tough to hit. Oh, speaking of go ahead, man.
I play what they call Army golf. Left, right. Yeah.
But speaking of golf and speaking of Phil Mickelson, one of his techniques he uses is to grease the groove, right? So what he'll do is he'll take 100 golf balls and he'll lay a perimeter 3 feet out from the cup. And he'll just, until he gets 100 in a row, he does not leave. He could be at 99. If he misses, he starts all over again.
That's all right. Wow.
Because what he's trying to accomplish is now I know if I don't hit the green, but I make a good chip or a flop shot and I'm within 3 feet, I'm going to save par.
Huh.
Or if I make a great approach and I'm 3 feet, I'm going to get a birdie.
Do we consider golf a sport?
Yeah, I'll tell you what's not a sport is poker, and it's on ESPN.
Yeah,
it's true. But no, it's a sport. I mean, if you look at the golfers nowadays, especially, they put a lot of time in to staying fit. And because of that, they've had to lengthen the courses. In fact, where they played this weekend, Kiawah Island, they had to lengthen the course for these guys because they drive the ball consistently 340, 330. Phil hit one yesterday, 366 yards, and he's 50 years old.
Wow. And some of these guys are in good shape. Who was the one golfer? Was it DeChambeau or whatever? Is it DeChambeau?
Yeah. Bryson DeChambeau. Yeah, he's a big dude. He looks like a football player. He's as big as you are. And his thing is a club head speed. He'll hit a 7-iron, 190 yards, 200 yards.
Oh. Wow. We played a charity golf tournament, must have been a couple of years ago. And it's funny, real nice family. His father, was real estate business, and his sons. And I think a couple other people out there. And I didn't golf all the time. I was traveling around. We had fun, joking around and everything. So we got near the end of the course, and there was must have been like a 30-foot putt. It's like, come on, just take a shot, Tom. Try one. So I got up there, and I was totally being a smart ass. And I was like, okay, this is how you do it, okay? Like you line it up, You step up, here's your feet, proper distance. I was putting on this whole show like I knew what I was talking about, and I didn't know anything. Hit the ball, went right in the hole. So it was total luck. It was absolute luck. So this one guy, I was joking around. I go running at him, and he's a medium-sized guy, and I'm going to do the chest bump, right? And the look at his face was like, I'm running. I'm scared of the death.
Well, you know, there was an occasion a while back. So on the tour, I don't know if it's Tuesday or Wednesday, but they'll play like a practice round, and there's fans there. You get tickets to go to the practice round, and you get a little bit more intimate look at the guys. Like, so if you like one particular guy, you could follow him the whole day. And I guess one of the Tour Pro guys, I forget who it was, gets on the green, and some guy's heckling him. He turns around, you think you can do a better job? And it was a long putt. You can do a better job? So he gives him the club. Guy gets up and he puts it in.
Oh, is that right? That's good.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I mean, it was just, you know, close his eyes and put it in.
I know. Well, good job. So multitasking then, especially in the workplace, it's tougher, but it's still possible. But again, in athletics particularly, there are certain things that you just do, like you use skating as an example. That's if you get to be a good enough skater, that's just a natural thing. So now you can do other things while you are skating. But again, the key to all of it, whatever part of life it's in, whether it's your career or your sport or whatever, it's really that greasing the groove, right? Doing that practice,
perfection, and very basic skills. All the other skills will follow, but yeah, and it's about performance and efficiency. Yeah.
Good deal. You going golfing today? What do you know?
Today, no, I'm going to be going in a few minutes up to my martial arts school, get a little work in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I have some clients this afternoon. Yeah.
Good deal. Okay. All right, but good. We'll see you next week.
All right, man.
See you, buddy.